Hi students, this is Fitchhorn and we are going to be doing a tutorial in Photopea in which we learn how to create the canvas in which we put our letters of our alphabet that compose our names, either our last name, our first name, our nickname, or our middle name. And we're going to be using Photopea instead of Photoshop because it's free, one, and it looks so much like Photoshop that when you guys get back in class, you're ready, you already kind of will know how Photoshop works. So as you know, I've told you before, the most important thing is to have your files on your desktop. You can't pull them from your drive. If you don't have your letters, like mine would be NADJA, they're on my desktop or in my downloads as well as in my drive if I'm a good student. And you have to make sure there's somewhere you can access it because Photopea and Photoshop will not get into your drive for those images. You have to have them somewhere on your computer locally. But we are working on a project. Anytime you have to put multiple photos on something, you have to do a project. You can't open from computer, only opens one photo at a time, but we need to use multiple letters. Like my name has 5 letters, so I need a new project. So you're going to click new project, and then you're going to see this screen where you name it, as always, last name, first initial, underscore, and this one's typography. Make sure you spell this right. It drives me nuts when people don't. Change your width and height to inches, please. No pixels. I have so many students who accidentally just think they're like awesome and fly through this and get started. And then when they go to save it, their project is this small, like literally the size of a tiny little ant. And they're going, what did I do wrong? And I'm like, that looks like pixels to me. Well, let's go ahead and change it to inches. And I'm going to recommend, because if you're putting photos that are about 3 by 4, if you're doing, hopefully you guys are mostly doing vertical orientation. It will only work if you stay with one orientation, just a shooting tip. On the canvas, they won't fit very well if you're switching between horizontal and vertical. I would do all vertical or all squares, guys. All vertical or all squares, but either way, you don't want your width too high. So I'm going to do my width like maybe 4 inches, and this will say it in the tutorial. Don't worry, I'll give you step-by-steps and guidelines. But you can watch this as well. But I would start off with 4 inches. Now, not wide, high. Sorry, 4 inches high, because a 3 by 4 is obviously 3 by 4, 3, by 4. But your width, you have to fit a lot of photos. Like if Naja is 5 letters and each photo is 3 inches across, well, 3 times 5 is 15. I'm going to guess about 15. I think I told you guys in the tutorial like probably 24 just in case, but I'm going to show you how to add to your canvas and take away to your canvas. Like you'll be like, Fitchhorn, I'm out of space. I'm like, don't worry, I got you. I got you. Okay, your DPI should be 150. That's not too high of a quality, not too low. And your background should be white. All right, so now I'm ready to rock and roll, and I can go ahead and hit create. All right, so once we hit create, we're going to see our canvas, right? And I don't know why the ruler is still like in pixels when I said inches, but that's fine. I think the biggest thing that you guys are going to want to do is do exactly what you did. If you successfully, and most of you did turn in your EOA POD, then you guys know how to do this. If you've shot all in one direction, all your photos are going to be the same size. And please crop out, meaning like visually, like look at you guys. If you can see me on the screen, I can't see you because I've minimized you so it doesn't record your faces. But if you photograph them all this way, and if there's cars or people or dogs in the background of that letter A in the tree, don't get those. Try to really fill the frame. But they should all, you shouldn't need to crop them. But remember last week in the EOA POD, I gave you videos on how to crop. So if you have to crop them, they all have to be the same size. They all have to be approximately 3 inches wide by, if your canvas is 4 inches high, obviously it can't be taller than 4 inches, or, I mean, you just want consistency, you guys. It'll make your life easier, because then when you go to pick your images, remember you go to File and you want to open and place one of your letters off of the computer, wherever you have it stored. I prefer my desktop. So if I look on my desktop, I see that I've got my A's, and I thought I had saved the letter N also. So let me scroll down to see where I put my letter N at. I know I saved the letter N. Well, let's pretend my name, I didn't save the letter N, so let's pretend my name is Dad. Okay, I know that just sounds wrong. Maybe ADD, maybe my name's ADD. That sounds more like Fitchhorn. So let's start with the first letter of your name. So I'm going to start with the letter A. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it in there. Notice that because I downloaded something off the internet, the quality is pretty lame probably. So remember, when you scale something, you have to hold the shift key. I don't want to see you trying to make something fit. I do not want to see a stretch. Do not stretch your typography on me. All right. What I do want to see is, I don't know who's coming in my room while I'm trying to do a video. Okay, here we go. What I do want to see is holding the shift key and pulling from a diagonal, and with the mouse, click and scroll until you get where you're at. And then you let go of the mouse first, and then the shift key. And then once you hit enter, it places it. All your anchors go away. Now you start with your next letter, and you go File, Open and Place. Again, remember, I'm pretending my name is ADD. Or ADA, that's a name, I think, Ada. Ada. All right, so then I've got my next photo, and again, it should be about the same size, and how I know is it fits right side by side perfectly. It's not formatted strange or anything, and I think there's some white space up there that needs to be, okay, and hit enter to place it. Perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in another A and make my name be Ada. All right, so I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to, wait, there we are, Open and Place. And I'm going to pick another letter of my name, and I'm going to open it. And again, if you just use your mouse to click and drag it right on next to it, make sure there's no white spaces between this photo and that photo. And if you want to check that, you guys, let me give you a shortcut key you're going to love me for. There's two ways to zoom in on your work to make sure that you don't have white space between any of your photos. So you can either go Command or Control plus, depending on your computer. If you have a Mac, it would be Command plus. And look at that. What? Look, I can see that tiny little white space. Or you can go, you can also use your left, right, up, down keys too, instead of the mouse if the mouse is jumpy. And then if you want to zoom back out, Command minus. Now on a PC, that's Control plus and Control minus. All right, so just remember either Control or Command. And or you can use this zoom tool. Like if you look down on Photopea, there's a tool that looks like a magnifying glass when you click it, and then you click down like over and over again. Whoa, look at damn pixels. Those are lots of pixels. But again, then Command minus will take you back. All right. But now that I've lost my anchors, I have to go back into Image, Transform. No, come on. Am I on the right layer? Yeah, I am on the right layer. That's why I need to pick it. Okay, Image, Transform. Why is it not letting me scale it? Edit. That's why Edit, Transform, Scale. All right, there we go. I'm mixing up my Illustrator with my Photoshop. Here we are. And right there. Okay, and hit enter to place. So pretend that your name is like whatever your name is, their canvas is too long or too short. I'm going to show you guys how to change the size of your canvas. You're like, Fidgehorn, you told me too long, it's not working. Do not turn in something with extra canvas, you guys. Do not. Go to your canvas tool. It's on Photopea. It should be down here. Hold on a second. It might be a little bit different in Photopea. You can all use the crop tool. Let's use the crop tool. Yes, sorry, the crop tool. Do you see it? It's in Photopea and in Photoshop. It's about 4 or 5 down. It's almost always at the top. And when you click the crop tool, make sure that you select not perspective, not slice, but the crop tool. And if you left click and drag the mouse in Photopea over all the images that you want to stay on the canvas, it will crop off the extra canvas. And then I hit enter. Ta-da! Da, 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 da. All right, now we have to save it. Let's say that you need more space though. Watch this, you guys. Let's say that my name is Ada, and I need space for 3 more. I'm gonna kind of go ahead and guesstimate, because I can crop until the cows come home. I can crop as much as I need to. You just click and drag out and hit enter, and look, the canvas is back. What? It's a miracle. Yes, it is. So in the meantime, when you've got your extra canvas cropped out using the crop tool or cropped up, whatever you need to, double check your work to make sure, like I've got some white space here between these two images I would mark you down on, but in order to make this video as short as possible so it actually will record to YouTube, I don't want to take up too much time. But remember that if you do want to move it, all you have to do is click on, if I want to move the letter D, you have to, right over here where my mouse is scrolling frantically, you have to be on that layer to move it. So if I click on, I want to move the D over or scale it, I have to click on it to make it the D active. And then I would go ahead and go to, in this case, if I move it over with the move tool, which is the top arrow, or you could click V for the shortcut. But if I move it over a little bit, look at it leaves me white space over there. So that's not an authentic solution. I think the best place would be is to move this A over and then make sure that my canvas on the right side of the A is. There we go. Now look, no white space, no white space. There can be no white space anywhere. There we go. Perfect. Sometimes if the mouse is jumpy, you guys, use your left, right, up, down, left, right, up, down. All right, it's leaving me a little bit of white space at the top and bottom, so I need to scale it a little bit more. If you guys want to move, when you're zoomed in, you're like, how do I move like over here? Because notice there's no scroll bars. See this little hand down here in the bottom left-hand corner? Watch this. Do, 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 do. It's like picking up, see the cute little Mickey Mouse glove? Do, 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 do. And yeah, I need to trim that canvas right there, right there. So let me zoom back out. Also, another shortcut tip, I could go Command minus, but watch what happens when I do Command 0. It brings your project all the way up front and center, the whole thing. Command 0 or Control 0 on a PC brings your whole project up front and 0. Know that it's a time saver. Just you got to memorize it, kind of like you got to memorize your ABCs. In Photoshop, there's certain tools you just got to know. And then I'm going to make my canvas probably, well, let's just go ahead and fill that outside the canvas. Let me click on that in A, and let me use my move tool to make sure I select it. And let me go into, I want to make it a little bit not only bigger this way and bigger this way, so I probably want to go to Edit, Transform, Scale. I'm going to hold my shift key and maybe make it a little bit longer. It's okay if a little bit of the image is over the canvas because it'll cut it off. Like there's no canvas. Once it's off the canvas, you won't see it in the project, okay? And I hit enter. Now I'm ready to save it. So again, this is important. All projects have to be saved. They have to be saved as both a PSD and an AI. File. Export as, okay? You could do JPEG, but remember to save it as a PSD first. I always do that because your PSD is a working file that shows your layers. Your JPEG shows no layers. So I'm going to save it as a PSD first. And look at that. It's downloading right here. I don't know where it's going to download on your computer, but my downloads on a Mac show up on this bar down here at the bottom. And then once you save it as a PSD, which this is why I require you guys to save it as a PSD so I know you haven't cheated, I can go into your individual letters, and that's how I double check to make sure they're not internet images. But now you need a JPEG, which is what you can use on social media, and anybody can open it, but it compresses the file. So do this last. File, export as JPEG, and then go ahead and go with the pixel translation. We knew that we made it like 4 inches tall by however many the ADA was. Probably ended up being something like 8, because if 600 pixels is 4 inches high, obviously 1200 pixels would be about 8 inches. My quality, you can make it, you know, it's, if you're gonna print it for mom and dad as a Christmas present, why not put it at 100%? And then I'm gonna click save, and look, it downloads it for you, both your PSD and JPEG. I like to drag my stuff out of downloads onto my desktop and then pull it into your Google Drive like this. Let me show you guys. I'm going to use one of my graphic designers because I know they won't mind. Let's see which one of my graphic design students won't mind. Let's go ahead and use Shannon. Shannon won't mind. I'm going to go into Shannon's folder. So pretend this is you. Look, your shared folder will be your last name, comma, first initial underscore photo, I believe. So like if I were to go into Stens Guard, right, and I kept going, and I'm not going to open up her folder for confidentiality reasons, but then I go comma, and then I go H, like it's gonna, right there, it's photo P2. And then I'd click it. That's how you find your folders, you guys, for those of you who still can't find them. There's a couple of you who haven't submitted one single thing to me yet. Hint, hint. But anyways, so let's pretend that I'm in, this is you, and you want your projects both to be in there. If you just go ahead and pull them